So, Joe Biden won Georgia. That's going to be certified tomorrow. He won the presidential election. And despite that clear electoral victory, American democracy is under assault by Donald Trump and by his collaborators in the Republican Party. Tonight, we've entered into a new, more dangerous phase of this. So let me just take a step back for a second. Remember that from the beginning, as we've been reporting here on the program for months, that Donald Trump and his campaign and the rest of the Republican Party, they always knew he was going to lose the popular vote, and always knew that a victory was only possible with a narrow win in a number of hotly contested swing states. And they actively laid the groundwork to be able to try and contest and steal those states, even if Trump actually lost them by narrow margins. But then what happened is that Trump lost by a lot. When the results all came in and they still aren't completely counted, it's a definitive rebuke. He lost the popular vote by almost 6 million votes, by 4 points percentage-wise. Lost the Electoral College by the same margin he won by in 2016, which he repeatedly called a blowout. All of that said, they just still went along with the plan that they had on the shelf. They still filed all these lawsuits, all but one of which has failed in court. And Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani are doing precisely what you would expect, spreading dangerous, completely fictional conspiracy theories and elevating cranks and grifters, and all of that was always bound to happen. But Mitch McConnell and Josh Hawley and Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton and the rest of these Republican politicians, who are no strangers to sanctimonious and aggrieved public oratory, well, they've all been going along with it, cowardly hiding behind the transparent excuse that the process should be allowed to play out, that you can go to courts and make your claim, and that's always been the path they want of least resistance for them to take. Now, though, that excuse is gone. So let's get serious here. Trump is 1-32 in court. They have lost 32 court cases in the 16 days since Election Day. And just tonight, a Trump-appointed judge, federal judge, ruled against the Trump campaign, saying it would be ridiculous not to certify Joe Biden's Georgia win one day before the state's deadline. The Trump campaign is admitting over and over in court that they are not actually alleging fraud. Even Rudy Giuliani told a judge, this is not a fraud case. Their legal strategy has been reduced to the spectacle today at the Republican National Committee headquarters in Washington, a darkly comedic and humiliating performance for all involved, with the president's last legal hope, Rudy Giuliani, sweating in front of the national media with some kind of undetermined dye running down his face, while Trump campaign lawyer Sidney Powell made truly wild allegations about how the election was rigged by communist money from Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez, who has been dead for 7 years. That's where we are. This is where we are. So we are now seeing the actual coup attempt. This is not about recounts that they are entitled to under law. It's not about barrages of frivolous lawsuits over this 100 ballots or that 100 ballots or signature matches. No, it is an attempt to use Republican loyalty to Donald Trump to subvert and frankly overturn the results of a Democratic election. They are just attempting straight up to subvert the will of the people and overturn a democratically elected government. We saw the first indications of this when the Republicans on the Wayne County, Michigan Board of Canvassers refused to certify the election before backing down. Well, then today, the Republican chair of the four-person committee, Monica Palmer, said the president called her himself after the meeting ended. And last night, both she and her fellow Republican board member, William Hartman, signed affidavits saying they want to rescind their vote certifying the election. They want to take it back after Monica Palmer talked to the president, even though that does not appear to be a real thing. I think that ship has sailed. Now, Trump has also invited the Republican leaders of the Michigan House and Senate to meet with him at the White House tomorrow, even though both have said they have no plans for any long-shot maneuvers aimed at the Republican legislature naming an alternate set of pro-Trump electors for Michigan. They're trying to just overturn the election and install the president in power. Now, I don't want to freak people out. This should not be giving you a knot in your stomach about the outcome. It's not going to work, okay? There's not some new ball game they're playing now. It is doomed to failure for a bunch of reasons we'll get into. But that should not diminish what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the thing. They're trying to overturn the election. Today, in an exclusive interview with Jonathan Capehart, which is coming up tonight at 10 p.m. on MSNBC, President Barack Obama pointed out it is not just Donald Trump who is to blame here.
Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States. Kamala Harris will be the next vice president. I have been troubled, like I think every American, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or independent, should be troubled when you start having attempts to block, negate, overturn the people's vote when there's no actual evidence that there was anything illegal or fraudulent taking place. These are just bald assertions. They've been repeatedly rejected by the courts, and I think I'm less surprised by Donald Trump doing this. He has shown only a flimsy relationship to the truth. I'm more troubled that you're seeing a lot of Republican officials go along with it, not because they actually believe it, but because they feel intimidated by it. And the degree to which you've seen some news outlets that cater to the right and the conservative viewpoint somehow try to prop up these bogus claims.
Again, that full hour-long interview coming up at 10 p.m. tonight after the triumphant return of Rachel Maddow, which I am looking forward to. But President Obama's right? Republican officials are on board with the plan. And if they are not, they have to speak up to let us know they are not. Trump and Giuliani are spouting horribly toxic conspiracy theories. They are running around, pouring gasoline and lighting a bunch of matches, and all those excuses about letting the process play out are gone now. OK, so Republican politicians, Josh Hawley, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, are you OK with this? Are you OK with holding an American election and they're just ignoring and overturning the results? Yahoo News political correspondent John Ward, great reporter, tweeted, quote, I have emailed spokespersons for all Republican senators about Trump's pressure campaign in Michigan and have not heard back from any yet. This is classic. We've seen this 100 times during the Trump years. It's the classic Republican, I didn't see the tweet, but for the end of the American experiment. A lot of people, myself included, have said, imagine if it were closer. Imagine what happens the next time around. But the fact of the matter is that 40 to 45% of the country, somewhere maybe 35 to 45% of the country, is getting information from sources that are telling them the election was stolen and fraudulent. And some of them are going to do things about it.